Hello, my loves. Sorry if you can hear the odd little buzz, but it's summer and we've had the windows open and now I've locked a fly in here. And also apologies if you can hear the giggles of joy from a 10-year-old boy who's in the garden with daddy playing in a paddling pool, but such is life. So this video is looking at ombre, acrylic ombre, okay, just pink and white. And it's one of the first things when nail techs qualify, they'll come back and go, right, I'm doing this now, I'm doing that now, and I'm having trouble with this, I'm having trouble with that. And it's really, really common. So we're just going to look at 3 elements today. We're going to look at how to get a smooth blend, how to keep your structure sound and keep the shape tight, because they're some of the things that people struggle with. The nice smooth blend, actually remembering your structure and putting your apex in the wrong place, and then making sure that when you look at the profile of the nail, everything's nice and neat and you've still got the smooth blend and you've still got the structure in place. I'm going to aim to show you how things go wrong and then how to do it right. That's the purpose of this. So straight away, you need to have your nice clear base done, okay? And your shape is already kind of mapped out for you. We're going to just be doing, like I said, pink and white. The system I'm using is, I can't even talk, Euphoria nails. And I'm just going to grab a bead of white acrylic, not too big. For the size of nail that I've got, this is the size of bead I'm using. And you might think that looks quite small, but it's pigmented, isn't it? Very pigmented. I'm going to place that bead down. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to feather that up, because I want the majority of the pigment further down the nail, tilting that nail down and walking that pigment powder down. Pigment powder, acrylic powder, sorry. My brain, it's because I can hear this fly. So there you go. So as you can see, at the tip of the nail, it's nice and white. As you get here, it's more wishy-washy. Okay, there's no step. When you look from the side profile, it's nice and flat. There's no ridge, there's no step here. It's really common that people will put a bead down, the bead will be too dry, and they'll get a step here and a thick, heavy pigment. And straight away, if you're trying to then cover that pigment with more pigmented powder that's a nice light nude colour, you're going to struggle. And you're going to end up, when you turn the nail to the side, with this great big like whoop. And then your apex is going to have to match. Then the whole nail is just going to have to be thick in order to look natural, but it's not going to look natural. So first things first, get your base feathered up and your pigment more concentrated down towards the tip. It will make the blend a lot easier. Oh, time at the bar, please. That's my lamp. So next we're going to go in with the pigment over the top. I'm using the shade Pinky, which is a nude core powder, and it's got a more of a pink tone to Signature, which I often use, which is more warmer toned. And we're going to place this is something I used to do when I first started, is I would start my first bead either too high up here, and then it would be feathered here, so this area would be thin and it wouldn't look right. Or I'd have a harsh line of white and I'd try and blend this harsh line out. So getting this first bit nice and feathered is quite important. So when I pick up this bead, I've brought my stuff over so you can see what I'm doing. I'm not picking up a huge bead, but it's not tiny. And I'm just going to drain the back a little bit. I'm going to place the bead on that line right where that feathering is. I'm going to walk it out to the sides, pushing down the back so we don't get a step. And then I'm going to bring the product down. It's really warm today, so this is setting a little bit faster, but it's still very easy to work with. And as you can see, I'm blending the top section of that bead into the white. And I'm tapping at the sides, and by doing this, we're keeping the shape and we're not losing the structure. It's still not very thick from the side. There are cheap products that you can get from eBay and Amazon and things like that. And as far as acrylic goes, I wouldn't touch them. I want to know where my product comes from and exactly what is in it and the quality. And I've tested out so many different products over the years. So obviously, if you're not using good quality products, then your core powders may not be as pigmented and you may have to build them up thicker to get the pigment. So I would recommend using a good quality acrylic. Always, it will make a huge difference. When I go in with my next bead, I'm going to place it just above. I could do it in just one more bead, nice and easy. So we can do it that way. Or if you were looking to build up, say this wasn't as, the coverage wasn't as good, I would do it in 3 beads because this one would feed down into this one, giving it more coverage and so on and so forth. What you've got to look at as well when you're doing things like ombre, or French fade, whatever you want to call it, is that your consistency of your bead is okay, so that it's not running out to the sides here and kind of becoming bulbous at the sides and you're losing your shape, because this still has to be capped. So the whole point in us keeping this as thin as possible is because it still has to be capped. The blend area has to be protected, because when you file the nail, you're going to lose that blend if it's not nice and protected. So I'm going to grab another bead. Slightly bleed out the back of the brush. Going to pop that down. Tapping out the back, obviously, so you don't have a huge step, and then blend that into the previous bead. And that all flows nicely. You're working, I work left to right, right to left, you know what I mean, side to side. I always do that, and I would tilt my client's finger or rock my client's finger. Now, by doing this, I've got a little bit of the pigment here, but not so much that it's going to look completely plastic where the lunula is. You've still got a little bit of that's going to glow through almost. And then the pigment builds, it covers the blend, and then it dissipates down into the white and blends nicely, right? From the side view, it's still not super thick. You could, if you wanted to, build your apex with your nude, but you don't have to. You can do it with clear. So let's cap that blend. So if you look at this, we've figured out how to stop this kind of bitty blend, how to get a nice smooth blend. And we're looking at the structure now and keeping the shape. So we've got the blend down, that's good. We've kept the structure by constantly checking as the beads are setting and working our way down and not going too bulky. Now we need to get that final structure in and not lose the shape at the sides here, because you want minimal filing. So I'm going to get my clear. I've got little hair on my brush, there it is. Now I'm going to place a bead at the cuticle, tilting that nail down, obviously. I'm going to tuck, use the tip to tuck, tip of the brush. Now I need an apex because I didn't make one. I'm then going to start thinning out the rest of the product. So from the side, it goes up into its apex, and then we start moving the rest of the product down the nail. By doing this, we're protecting that blend, that ombre that we've created so lovingly. So in the past, I've capped the nail too thin because the blend was too bulky, because I didn't have my ratio down. I just did, the quality of product wasn't there. And then when it came to capping, I would cap really thin. And when I finished filed, I'd actually file away the blend. From a side view, I've got a nice gentle sweeping apex. And now I just need a little bit more product here. It's very, very hot today, so things are setting up a little bit fast, but this is, I find this system super easy to work with, so it's no issue for me. I'm just going to blend that bead back because you don't want a step. I'm going to pay attention to the side all the time. There we go. Now, if you look at that from the side, we've got a nice smooth graduation up into the apex, down to the tip. The blend is nice and even. Looking down the barrel, if you can see, it's nice and even. And you've got yourself a really, really nice ombre, French fade, whatever you want to call it. And all you've got to do is whip over with a file and you'll be ready to top coat. Okay, so we're set up. I don't know how this is going to necessarily hold if it's going to hold very well, but I just file it the same as anything else. Your structure's in there. You don't need to do an awful lot of filing, but we're going to tidy up these edges. So we go underneath and we go across the side. I always do it this way, side wall, side wall. Now, the free edges, you know, kind of like the tip of the stiletto, I suppose. You can either have it tight and really pointy, or you can have it slightly softer. It's entirely up to you. Cuticle, obviously tucking it in, all still the same as your normal filing routine. And then just, I do flat of the file across the body like that. I work left to right, keeps it nice and flat. Shows you any inconsistencies on the surface of the nail. Let's grab my little brush. Dust everywhere, hate it. Hate it so much. Gonna get a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, which is running out. I've got to refill my thing. And we're just gonna clean up all that dust. If this was a human being, they would go and wash their hands. You don't want any dust when you're top coating. It's like arch nemesis of a nail tech. Oh, I've pushed that down a little bit. Oh, hello. There we are. Right. Let's give her one final clean now, and I'm going to use a little bit of acetone just to smooth over the surface. Nice. Nice. I like. Make sure my lamp's on. Beep. I'm going to top coat with Euphoria Nails No Wipe Top Coat. I can hear the sirens. Okay. I found floof. There's a nice blend. I'll show you a little trick as well. I can see a little tiny bit of dust there. I'm still gonna cure this, right? But I'll show you a little trick with it. So if you get a nail, and no matter how much you clean it, there's always dust in the air, I feel like, because, you know, we're filing left, right, centre. And you just feel like you're top coating and it's still dusty. I will show you a little trick. A lot of nail techs do it, so, you know, it might not be news to you. I'm not claiming to be some kind of like, I'm the person that's thought of it or anything like that, but I can see little tiny specks of dust. So I would then go back over with a buffer Give it a little buff. Just a 220, I think this is, or 180, I can't remember. Might be, it's 220. I'll give her another quick wipe. And we're going for another top coat. Beaut. You can even turn it upside down for a couple of seconds and we'll get that in the lamp. And there you have it. I do hope it's helped. If there's anything else you'd like me to sort of demo, just let me know. And I'll see you in my next one. Tally bye.